Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south, I'll be spreading out.
Go. Welcome to another episode, guys. You know, we had some technical difficulty. We couldn't do this live, but this is gonna be recorded. But it's gonna be even better because now we can talk about whatever we want without getting shut down.
Right, we can always remove the bad stuff. So.
Yes. All right, Brock, take us in, man.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to another edition of Business Funding and Whiskey. So if this is your first time checking us out, we take an unconventional approach to everything business. Funding, wealth, happiness, business ventures. So today we have an awesome guest. We have Orit Haiby. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I love it. So for those of you who are not familiar with Orit, she's got a massive online following. In addition to that, she's an Airbnb host, educator, and video content creator with over $1.5 million in revenue. So she manages multiple short-term rentals, all managed remotely while she travels across the world to 55 different countries. Yeah. Welcome, Orit.
Thank you. What an introduction.
Welcome. Look at that. That's awesome.
All right, so let's kind of start it right off. So for those who do not know you, Orit, who are you and what do you do?
So first of all, I'm from Israel originally. I love saying I'm Israeli breed.
Israeli breed.
And I'm also an American dreamer and a Mexican resident. So like I have everything.
Wow.
So you don't live in the US. You do Airbnb in the US, but you don't live in the US?
Correct.
Is that possible?
It's possible. You
can. Oh, wow. Okay.
Remotely.
Tell us more.
So I think that's what I call lifestyle hacking. When you can actually create the lifestyle that you want with creating a business. It doesn't have to be where you're at, kind of like a digital nomad, but I don't like the traveling hectically anymore, that fast traveling. I like slow traveling. I want to have a base, but it just not in the US anymore.
Got it.
So I want it to be where when I walk out the door, I'm in paradise and I can just earn in dollars, right? Because my business is US based. I spend in pesos because I live in Mexico. So now my money goes longer way. And yeah, I can enjoy being where I want and managing everything remotely.
Love it. Genius.
What part of Mexico you live?
I live in Playa del Carmen, 50 minutes.
Playa del Carmen, that's a beautiful place. I'm Brock. Ever been there before?
No, I have not.
Oh, we need to do a company retreat over there. Salud.
Yes.
I'll drink to that.
No, but it's amazing.
So, Orit, now I know you're an Airbnb guru. There's a lot of people who don't know what Airbnb is or short-term rentals, right? So, what exactly is that?
So first, I am not a guru.
Love it. Humble.
But I love sharing my knowledge.
There we go.
What was the question?
Come on.
I like to focus on is like, no, nah.
So what is Airbnb and what are short-term rentals for those people who just don't know what that is?
Right. So basically, just like you would book a hotel, you go on vacation, you book a hotel. Instead, you can just book an apartment if you want the convenience of having a kitchen, having all the amenities that an apartment, just like you would be home, the convenience of having a home, and you can rent it short term, right? So that's what I did. I basically took one of my apartments that the way I started was just renting my extra bedroom in the apartment that I was renting and allowing other travelers from all over to just rent that room and be in the US, very close to New York, because my business is based in New Jersey. And having a vacation, being next to the city and not paying those massive amounts of money that you have to buy, book a hotel. So that's basically what it is. You can just substitute it for renting an apartment or a room and you get the local experience, right? Because if you rented my apartment, and you're in contact with me, it's not like a hotel where they don't care what you're going to do. I can give you local tips and tell you where to go, where to get everything you need, because I know the place, the area best.
Nice. Now, let me ask you something. So why go the route of becoming an Airbnb host and not, as a lot of people want to invest into real estate, they want to go to do the flips, the wholesales, or even investing into commercial real estate? What made you take that decision of becoming an Airbnb host, and why is it more lucrative?
Yeah. And I would give you a different answer if I started the business today.
Yeah.
But because it's a raw conversation, I love, telling people how it actually started. Because when I decided to become a host, I didn't think I'm starting a business.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like, oh, what business I'm going to start? And then, oh, I'll be an Airbnb host. It wasn't like that. I actually traveled to Ecuador, and I didn't have a lot of money back then. So my friend told me, oh, you can rent a room instead of renting a hotel, booking a hotel. And I booked this room in this guy's apartment in Ecuador and stayed overnight just like to do that transition. And in the morning, we woke up and there was sounds in the kitchen. So he was making a smoothie and like a little breakfast at 7 a.m. And we were sitting there speaking this broken Spanish. And I was like, wow, I think I should do this. I think I can be someone that is welcoming people from all over the world, and let me try this. And it happened to be that at that time, my roommate left and I didn't know how I'm going to afford renting the entire space. So I was like, wow, because I didn't want another roommate. I didn't actually like the sound of a different roommate. This was my friend. So when I went back to the States, I just gave it a shot. I was like, oh, let's see what happens. And that's how I started. So it wasn't like a business decision. Okay. It was a necessity of survival.
It was survival. So it's sheer luck. Well, that's good though. That made you a guru today, right? It's not guru.
But so now, like 9 years later, it's a long time.
That's awesome. That's a great start there. Hey, I'm just going to rent out a room and then I'm going to slowly build my portfolio because, hey, it works. Yeah. Right? Totally. So, now, why would you choose an Airbnb model or short-term rental model over, let's say, traditional rentals?
So long-term rentals?
Mm-hmm.
So you mean why I'm not buying a property long-term?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, when you buy a property, and this ties into what you guys are doing, you need funding, you need money, you probably need a mortgage, you need some down payment money. I didn't have all that. So when I started, I was like, okay, if I can just rent an apartment, that's not a huge risk and it's not a big investment. So that was the leading thought as someone that's just starting and has no clue about investing or anything like that or funding. That was just like the easiest route.
Okay. Now, when you're looking for Airbnbs, is there like any specific things that you look for when you're like, hey, I've got a couple of properties I'm looking at, which one should I pick? What are some things that you typically look for?
So when I do market research, I look at the comparables, right? I look at other Airbnb hosts, what they're doing, how their calendars are looking, right? So if I see a lot of Airbnbs, so I already know, okay, there's juice over here, like there's something to work with, because people wouldn't just open more and more Airbnbs. But then I go into their calendars, because if you think about it, the barriers to start an Airbnb, there's no barrier. You just start it free and anybody can list an apartment. So there's sometimes a lot of listings that are just up, but they're not actually making money. So I go to the calendars and I look at the calendars to see how, their occupancy rate. And I look at the area. Normally I work with areas that I know. I wouldn't just go to an area that I don't know unless I have someone, a partner. And I look at how close it is or how easy it is to get around to sightseeing, different places, convention centers. So I will do that research first to see what's happening. And now I think it changed a little bit. Airbnb changed to a point where now it's an experience, right? So I can be in the forest with an A-frame, but it's going to be so iconic that you're going to go all the way to that forest and book it. So it's not going to be location, more the experience.
Nice.
So that's also something that people can do today.
Nice. And that's amazing. That's amazing the way that you actually talk about it and what you could do. So let's just say someone that is watching today wants to start a business in Airbnb. What is the first advice that you tell them to do? Like, do they need money? Do they don't need money? How can they go about finding an apartment to put it into an Airbnb or VRBO, whatever other platforms are there in order for you to do short-term rentals?
So I think Airbnb mastered. So because your question is a few questions combined together. So when you think about Airbnb, I think they mastered it because it's also a community.
Yeah.
And if you know how to master the algorithm and what exactly they're doing there, then you wouldn't need all of these other platforms. It can be complementary, but I just think that if you master Airbnb, you can have a full calendar with Airbnb.
Nice.
So I wouldn't even go to all of the other ones. I'll master one. But if you just started now, I would focus on first learning the business and that hospitality, because a lot of people can just go in and lose pretty quickly, because the first month the algorithm is giving you a boost and you feel like, oh my God, I'm getting booked, all these things. And then after a month it's like, and you're like, what did I do wrong? It's because you're not doing the market research and you're just it's like a lazy listing, just like, I'm just putting it on Airbnb and let it be. But no, so I would first learn the business. And there's educators all over, not just myself, but other educators. You can learn in the sea of YouTube videos and get to like the essence of what you need to know first, and then act on looking for an apartment, doing the market research. There's a lot of apartments that are sitting, they're vacant.
They are. And again, you know what? And this is something you said, but a lot of people, and something that I advise a lot of people is, they could go to YouTube, they could find so many information out there. But as you know, and you have the experience now in Airbnb, and like we do have experience in business credit and credit, there's so many people out there that give the wrong info. Not only that, we want to make sure that when they take an advice or they take an action to follow someone, also do your own research. This is why we bring you here. Because we know that even though you don't like to be called the guru, she's the guru when it comes down to Airbnb. And this is what we want to showcase people like you that are in business today. And we want to show how business can collaborate with credit, with business credit. So this is why, and great. So, and what I'm trying to say here in my point in all of this is make sure that anytime that you follow anyone, do your own research. Do your own research. She has a great following. Check on TikTok. She's been going to TikTok. As a matter of fact, this is how we met. We were actually through a TikTok training, and she took it, and she has amazing videos of where she teaches, and she's been doing it for a while. Not only that, she has experience, and she can tell you specifically how not to do it and how to do it. So it shortens the distance between point A to point B. And that's the purpose of this. So I want to make sure that you also listen. Yeah, go out there and do your own research. But look, we have somebody in front of you that if Airbnb is what you're looking for, she'll be able to teach you, right? I'm Ms. Orit.
Thank you. Yes,
Not guru, right? Not a guru.
So Orit, I got another question for you. And I hear this from a lot of people. Like, they say, hey, listen, I just don't have the time to manage multiple properties. I'd much rather just rent it out to one tenant and for the long term. What would you say to somebody who says, I just don't have the time? How much time do you spend?
Well, first of all, I'll say go with long term. First of all, right? Because if you're already in that mindset, then you're not probably going to invest the time to create the system. And then you can pull back and manage it remotely and invest like 2 hours a week, and that's it. So there is an opportunity to create a system that can work for you, and then you don't have to invest a lot of time. Everything is on autopilot. But if you're already with the mindset of like, I don't have time, then yeah, you forget about it. It's possible. That's how I do it.
I'd like to know how much time that you personally spend managing your properties, let's say on a weekly basis.
About 2 hours a week.
Wow. That's.
Now, let me ask you something. Are there companies out there that will manage your Airbnb just in case people want to be lazy?
Yeah.
because I'm lazy when it comes down to business. I want to make sure I put everything in autopilot.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
No, no,
right.
I love working, but when it comes to real
Yeah,
estate,
you're
that's what I
lazy.
love to
I
do.
love it.
Like honestly, even though I'm a real estate investor, I don't like changing the bulb, changing the toilet, you know, all the stuff that real estate entails. But and why I ask you that too is we have a management company that manage our Airbnbs in Florida, and they charge about 10 to 15% on on the net of what we make. And again, I have nothing to do with it. And that's another way that, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, that you could tell people how to. But again, you need to be able to have some experience in order to look for a company that's really going to take care of your properties.
Yeah.
Before anything, and before we actually, even in our company, before we actually hand something off to someone else, we want to learn the process, because we want to make sure that it's done correctly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Airbnb also works on reputation. How many stars? You a super host? Are you a host? You know, all those little things. Can you please explain to everybody how you gain the reputation and how long would it take you to get there?
Yeah. I think when it comes to a big company, management company, especially, you want to look at how many properties they do manage
Right, yeah.
and how many people are, you know, taking care of how many apartments each, for example, and look at their track record, because that's an opportunity in the business, right? Some people want to start a management company, so they don't have to actually acquire properties. They just need to contact property owners like you, and
Yeah.
then they can make, I think 10 to 15% is low.
It's low.
Yeah,
It's usually higher than that.
it's higher than that, and normally 20 to 30.
Don't ask me for my management company. They only manage mine.
Yeah, so no, they're not going to listen.
We could share. We could share.
So if you're seeing a fully booked apartment, then they're doing good.
Yeah.
A lot of the companies, they have a huge portfolio, and you know, they compete with each other because it's in the same area.
Yeah.
So you really want to look into that.
Awesome.
Now, Ort, is there something like when you're looking at the data for your Airbnbs and you're seeing, okay, cool, this, you know, gets X amount of bookings. What's that threshold where you're like, all right, cool, this is a good amount of bookings versus this is a bad amount of bookings?
Yeah, so I'm looking at year-round 97% occupancy rate. So the only dates that I will see available, sometimes if there's one night in between reservations, and then I have a different strategy. I can offer them a really early check-in, and then I can charge them half. So it's like those days are not completely empty. But yeah, it's normally, even if there's a few days closer to the date, there will be last-minute guests that will book those slots.
So when you're going through Airbnb, like how much time in the future do you go looking at, like, is it normal to see that the following month they have a lot of availability? Is that a bad thing, or?
So that's a good question. Normally between 2 to 3 months ahead for a successful host. And if you see like the calendar is fully booked 6 months ahead, you're probably selling yourself cheap. Normally it's 2 to 3 months, it's good to see a lot of bookings. But if it's like it's 6 months, you're probably selling yourself a little bit.
And then if it's before that 2 to 3 month threshold, then you know that there's something wrong with the area or the property.
It's sometimes you need to see what that host is doing. Many times I'm doing live audits and I do market research on my TikTok and I show people the gaps. If you started right now in Airbnb and if you follow my instructions, then look, you have here people who are doing it so mediocre just by how they present the listing that you can come and take over.
Yeah. And another thing that you have said, and I want to make sure that everybody takes the time, when you present the property, doesn't matter how small, how big the property is. And I remember the 5 pictures. Talk to them how they should invest the first time they actually post this property, how they should do it, because presentation is everything. It's like when we meet each other. The first impression is what tells everything. Same thing with the property. That we talk about marketing all day long. You have 3 seconds to catch somebody's attention, right? How important are those pictures when you actually post a property into Airbnb?
It's two things. It's the pictures, the first picture, right? Because that's gonna make you click
Yeah.
on the listing. But how do you make that picture stand out? It's in the design, in the space. Like if you decided, normally my living rooms are what's attracting your attention.
Yeah.
And I use different colors so it will pop. So for example, in Florida, because you're talking about Florida, there's a very like a standard type of pictures that you see. Everybody is doing a clean cut design, modern, beautiful, but there's no character. So when you scroll down, you will see 20 apartments in the same building and all posting the same pool, the same entry, the same, it looks the same because it's a building, apartment building.
Yeah.
So how do you stand out? You have to go the extra mile to maybe put artwork that will stand out, maybe a mural, maybe a color. It's just have fun with it. Like you have an opportunity to have fun with the design and put that as the first pick. At least make people click. Now, when they clicked, you got their attention. Now it's the 5 photos, right? You can give them a little mini tour with the 5 first photos and make sure you have as many spaces as possible. Don't give me like different angles of the same living room. I want to see where I'm going to sleep.
Right.
I like, don't go overboard. Like if you have a pool, yeah, like give me as much, because basically Airbnb is looking at how long the guest stays on the on your listing to determine if it's a good listing to show it to more people. Because what Airbnb wants, they don't have any attachment to you or to any other host. They want it to be booked on their platform and not like in booking.com or anything like that.
Of course, yeah.
So they will give the guests suggestions where to go if they didn't find anything interesting in your listing. So that's where the magic happens, when they know how to the retention of their attention on your listing.
Nice, amazing. Okay, good. Now, all right, are you writing? You have a course coming up, something? What do you have? Tell us. We want to know. We want to know more about what you have. We want to know how can people find you? But we're gonna know how people find you at the end. But do you have a course? I know. Let's talk about your course. What do you do? How do you teach it? And where can people find you?
So, with the course, it took me a while to actually come out with it, because it's easy to just like put a few things and say, hey, this is how you do it. But what I wanted for people to have my angle.
Yeah.
As if you want to have 200 properties and be landlocked, it's one thing. It's a different type of business.
Yeah.
But if you want to really match and manage your business remotely and be living the lifestyle that you want, so I need to structure the way I teach you how to create that system and how to execute it, and then how to step back a little differently. So I think, and that's what people craving. People these days, they want to travel, they want to do, they want to live the dreamy life, whether it's traveling or just having more time to be with their families, or to do whatever craft they want, or to dedicate themselves to their art or anything like that. And today you can do it. So now it's coming, and what I'm doing, I'm going to custom it to my audience, my existing audience. So I'll start with a survey to ask them questions to see, what are the challenges, and then I'll put my spin on it and create that course. So that's what's coming up, and it's going to be nice. You'll have access to me on Zoom calls, so you can ask the questions, and there's a lot of accountability, because there's some people, they get stuck in the mindset. They don't get stuck in the execution. It's how do I convince the landlord? How do I do that? It's all about having someone behind you that says, do it more times. Not everybody's going to say yes, but when they say yes, it's golden.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what is the time frame? Not putting you in the spot.
Within a month.
Oh,
yes.
good.
Excited. I'm very excited.
Let's go.
Excited for you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Let me ask you something. So that's a business, or let's just say you want to start today. Do you need business credit, or do you need credit in order for you to do landlords, when you do your rentals? Obviously, because you do a lot of the rentals, you don't buy the property, right?
Right.
Okay, so when they do that, do they check your, you have a lease? Do you pay first, last, in 1 month? Do they check your credit? What do they do? What is the whole process? Can you walk us through it?
Yeah. So normally in my area, they charge a month and a half security, the first month in advance. if you're a good negotiator, you can get a month free, and then you can have a head start. That's for the courageous ones. Because at the end of the day, when I rent an apartment from a landlord, I put a lot of improvements in the apartment. So I'm like, you're not gonna recognize your apartment after I'll be done with it, and you'll get it in a better condition than what you gave it to me. So I'm able to get a month free. But yeah, they check my credit, and they make sure everything is in place, like you do with any tenant, right? But the spin on it is I make a business out of it, so there's more. I just need a few nights a month to cover my rent versus someone else that is working full time, and it's a little bit different. But if you don't have good credit, then they should come to you to learn how they can get credit. No,
that's one thing. Now, let me ask you something. Are you able to use a negotiation? Are you able to also negotiate with the landlord and become a partner in that apartment?
No.
No?
No, I never actually tried to get because mostly sometimes they want a bite of what you're doing, because making money on my apartment, then what do you offer me? Percentage? I'm like, percentage? No, you're not my partner. But sometimes they pay higher rent, maybe $100 or $200 if it's a couple, and then they get just more on the rent. So that's great.
Okay, good. So that's another option, guys. I got it. Go ahead, Brock.
I've got a question for you. When it comes to your short-term rentals, what does financial security mean to you?
For short-term rentals?
Yeah, so I mean, really, for not only your short-term, but also for your other business ventures, what does financial security mean to you?
I have to be honest. I don't think financial security is real. Because anything, like especially in COVID, when everything just flipped on everybody, and my business stopped for like 2-3 months. I turned all my apartments to long-term furnished, so I was able to run it. But I think to be able to, so for example, with credit, right? If I have my credit in good standing, so whenever I need extra money or to invest, I can pull more money out, right? And then invest. So that would be some security.
Okay.
That I know, okay, I have a good history, so I can always utilize money from my credit. But that's why I structured a business that is working as I'm working on new streams of income. So I know, okay, this feels security to me, right? I know how to generate this on autopilot, and then I can anywhere. I can create more Airbnbs. If something closed on me and regulations changed, I can just take the same model, get some credit, create another one, boom.
Nice.
So all right. The skill of creating money and making money is what actually contribute to my financial security.
Got it. Now, do you reinvest the money that you actually get from a lot of these properties and into other means of investments, or do you go and get more Airbnbs? What do you do? What is your strategy when it comes down to financial non-security?
In the beginning, I used to just pour money back into the business and just create more apartments. And then last year, it was all about crypto. So I started to load up on cryptocurrencies, and I just gonna come back.
No, we got to talk about it. That's gonna be for another podcast. But hey, we appreciate you actually being here with us today. It was an amazing time. One thing that we want to know is for our viewers, how can they get in touch with you?
All social media platforms. They can find me on TikTok. It's my full name, Orit Haiby. On Instagram.
Can you spell that out for them? Because it's gonna be.
What?
Can you spell that out for them?
O-R-I-T, Orit. Haiby is H-A-I-B-Y.
You got it.
You can just find me on all social networks.
All right, and no matter what, guys, we're still gonna put all her info in the bottom of our videos. We want you to make sure reach out to her. She has a wealth of knowledge when it comes down to Airbnb, and this is something that you guys want to start. And TikTok as well. As a matter of fact, she's very big on TikTok. If one of you that follow me don't know about her, then I don't know what you guys are doing. But you guys need to go ahead and follow her. But guys, hey, I appreciate Orit. Hey, Brock.
Orit, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
It was amazing. So thank you for tonight. Until the next time, okay?
All right.
All right, so
Cool.
I'm
Good
gonna
stuff.
end this one, and since this one is not live, I had to go for a while, and I've been holding it. So I'll edit this. So what I'll do is, if you want, I'll have my VA edit this, and I'll send it to you too. So like that, if you want to take pieces,
Yeah,
and put them into your social media as well. Okay. All right.
amazing.
All right. Thank you so much. A lot of
Thank you,
really
guys.
good
It was a
pieces of
pleasure.
information. So
Do me a
I'm-
favor. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Do it. We have about more, not as her. So ours is growing little by little. Every time that we do a new live, right now we have 507 viewers, 507 viewers.
Hey, there we go.
But send me all of your handles and social media, so we could post it in the descriptions of the video. Okay.
Will do.
All right, girl.
Awesome.
Take care and thank you.
Ciao.
Thanks, Orit.
Bye.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase